Kesel also, we'll try to talk about the definition, the mashmos, and the teichen of Avodas HaTefillah in Yomin Noraim, and we'll try to focus on the Slichos of Erev Yom Kippur in the second part of this year. The phenomenal Gemara in Maseches Brochis, Daf Chovtes. Gemara talks about the definition of having a certain amount of brochis in every Shmones of the year. Hanach Yudches brochis of 18 brochis of Shmones of Yom Koil keneged that. Sheva brochis of Shabbos is keneged that. Hane Teisha brochis of Rosh Hashanah. We know the davening we daven Rosh Hashanah is Sholosh Rishonos, Sholosh Achronos, and Sholosh Imtzoyos, which is Malchios, Zichronos, and Shofres. Keneged Ma. So the Gemara Omar Rav Yitzchok the Min Kartiganin Keneged Teisha Azkores Sheomro Chano B'Tefilas. We know that mother of Shmuel Hanavi, her name was Chana. We're going to focus on Tefilas Chana because that's the Mochor of Tefilah. A lot of halachos of Hilchos Tefilah in Shulchan Aruch we learn from Tefilas Chana. So, Keneged, the 9 times she mentioned Shem Hashem in Shiras Chana, once she had Shmuel was born, that's the 9 Azkores which are mechayev us to give, to daven with 9 brochos on Rosh Hashanah. That's the thing more. The Gemara in Rosh Hashanah, in Daf Yud Amud Beis, Yud Aleph Amud Aleph, over a ganze Amud, Gemara mentions a few things, and we mentioned it in the last year, but just to wrap up on the Gel in Yonenu, B'Rosh Hashanah Nifkedo Soro, Rochel, and Chano. B'Rosh Hashanah Yotza Yosef Mibeis Asuri. B'Rosh Hashanah Posak Botlo Avoido Me'avoiseinu B'Mitzrayim. So I'd like to focus on those 5 things. The 2 Imois, Soro and Rochel, which were Nifkad on Rosh Hashanah. So too Chana is Nifkad on Rosh Hashanah. Yosef went out of the jail on Rosh Hashanah. And so too Klal Yisrael Posak Hashibud, Zokt Rashi, even though they went out 6 months later. But Lemaise, in that year of the Yetzias Mitzrayim, anybody that walks into this Bes Medrash knows 2248 L'Brias Oilam, that Rosh Hashanah Poscha Aveda. For 6.5 months thereafter, or maybe 7.5, pending the Machlekes HaMidrashim, if it was a Yibur or not Yibur, they were sitting there past Avdus, past Shibud, until the Geula, which happened on Leil Pesach. So what does Chazal want to tell us? This happened on Rosh Hashanah, this happened on Rosh Hashanah. We're just counting things that happen on Rosh Hashanah. So Pashta is the way the Rishonim learn without getting our hands dirty in the sugya. More is trying to tell us that what do we have to do Rosh Hashanah? Why do we read Rosh Hashanah, the Kriyas HaTorah, Hashem Pokad Sora Asher Oma? Because Rosh Hashanah, it's Me'eina Me'oira. There's a halacha every time you read, it has to have association. We know with the Maftir is Me'eina Me'oira, the Kriyas HaTorah is Me'eina Me'oira. Why do we read Rosh Hashanah, Hashem Pokad Sora? Because so is Nifkad Rosh Hashanah. Why do we read the Haftorah of Elkanah? Because Rosh Hashanah Nifkad Chana. Why do we read on the second day Akedas Yitzchok? Because Akedas Yitzchok happened on Rosh Hashanah. And why do we make Haftorah from Koyamar Hashem of Rochel Imeinu Mini Koylech Mibechi? Because Rochel was Nifkad on Rosh Hashanah. As I Pashtas learn in the Rishonim, this is the reason why the Gemara mentions it. B'Rosh Hashanah Nifkad Yosef Yosef Beis Asur. What shaykhs does it have to do with anything? So you know that Nusach Sfarad, they say that the Shir Shel Yomim Rosh Hashanah every day according to the day. The Goyans Shita is as they gedrukt in Siddur Agra, and a lot of in Eretz Yisrael everybody fears that Rosh Hashanah, irrespective of the day of the week that Rosh Hashanah falls out, you say the kapitel Pei Aleph in Tehillim Tiku B'Choy D'Shefa B'Kesel Yom Chagim L'Kichot L'Yisrael Lu Mishpat L'Kei Yankev. Then there's 2 psukim. Eidus bi Yehosef Somoy B'tzeiser al eretz Mitzrayim sfas li'odad yeshma, which is talking about the Geula of Yosef. And hasiroisi misevel shichmoi kapov midud ta'avorno. So the Radak, this refers to hasiroisi misevel shichmoi, the avdus, the shibud expired on Rosh Hashanah. So again, the reason why we do all the things, the Kriyas HaTorah, the Haftorah, the Shir Shel Yoim, and everything which has to do with that, is because of all these occurrences that took place on Rosh Hashanah. But Rosh Hashanah botla avodah. We daven, we say Kiddush. You ever think about it? You come to Kiddush on Rosh Hashanah, you say Zechel L'Tzias Mitzrayim. Pesach is Zechel L'Tzias Mitzrayim. Shavuos is Zechel L'Tzias Sukkos. Wo kommt Rosh Hashanah zu sein Zechel L'Tzias Mitzrayim? What shayches does Rosh Hashanah have Zechel L'Tzias Mitzrayim? Sagt the Maral that because there is Pesach, Rosh Hashanah, Poscha Avodah, so we say Zechel L'Tzias Mitzrayim v'lechaven al shnei Yonim Eila al sheyotze Yosef min Abor v'hu hayom Moishiyom lo yitzia miMitzrayim. This is the first thing. V'lechaven also to be mechaven on the Posach HaShibud miMitzrayim. That's the Zechel Machkilush Hashanah Mevesish As Mizok. You don't know what you say. But you say Zechel L'Tzias Mitzrayim because these two occurrences that took place on Rosh Hashanah. Let's get a shtickle deeper into it and try to swim through the water and lead us to the Slichos of Erev Yom Kippur. You know, we're saying that Tefilas Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur Rosh Hashanah Yikosevim b'Yom Tzom Kippur Yichaseimu Kama Yavrun v'Kama Yiboreyun. What does it mean, Kama Yavrun? Who will die? What does it mean, Kama Yiboreyun? If you look in the Meforshei Tefilas, starting from Abu Draram and the Reker, who will be conceived during this year? Doesn't mean Yiboreyun, who will be born. Which pregnancy will take place during the year? So all the pregnancies of the forthcoming year, Abba Rosh Hashanah Yikosevun, will be Yom Tzom Kippur Yichaseimu. So what's Rosh Hashanah Nifkedo Sora? What's Rosh Hashanah Nifkedo Rochel? What's Rosh Hashanah Nifkedo? Every woman that's going to have a baby that year is going to be conceiving that year, this woman. She is decided on Rosh Hashanah. So Rashi really says that the Rosh Hashanah was the nifsak that Sarah will get pregnant. Some Sefer says that they got pregnant that night. That Sarah, you have to understand, and Yitzchak was born on Leil Pesach. Shteit Chazal, he was Neila the Shiva, and he led us the Shiva, he led us the Mekutoyin. So it was either 6.5 or 7.5, pending if that year was a Yibur Yor, according to Rishonim. There was an Inyan of Yibur Hashanah Farmat there. Okay? And so is Rachel. Rachel's take Shteit Medrash, whoever knows. So now Medrash Tatshe, which is brought down in Rabbeinu Bechaya in the beginning of Sefer Shmois, Vayom Osei V'chol Echel V'chol Adayro, he says the birthdays of all the Shvatim, very phenomenal, the birthdays of all the Shvatim. Yosef's birthday is Rosh Chodesh Tammuz. If Yosef's birthday is Rosh Chodesh Tammuz, is Nisabro, and if you notice Letitia's Machlokes and Midrashim, she was taking Nisabro B'leil Rosh Hashanah. We don't know what happened. What was the tefillah of Sarah to get her son? What did she do? It doesn't say. V'asa given the schus for Sarah to get the son. She was Akora, Leolodo, Astishim, but she has to have a schus. What was the tefillah of Rachel to get Yosef? We don't know. The only one we know what the tefillah was Chana. Let's read a second together the tefillah of Chana. Shteit Azeh. Vayya Yoim. Vayizbach. Vayya Yoim. Vayizbach. Elkono v'nosa lepnina ishto v'lechol baneo v'noseo monois v'lechano yiten mano achas apayim ki eschano ohev v'Hashem sogar rachmo v'chi asasa tzorosa gam kas ba'avur ar'imo ki sogar Hashem ba'ad rachmo v'chen yaseh shono b'shono b'dei aloyse b'is Hashem ken tachesno v'tivke v'loi toichal v'yom alo elkono isho chano lama tivki v'loma loi seichli v'loma yero levovich alo anoichi toiv lach Ma'asora bonim. I'm better than 10 children for you. Shaila, how many children Pnina, her Tzora, if she had 10 children, or 12 children, or 9 children, it's machlekes and chazal, different midrashim. But I'm better than, why are you crying? Why aren't you eating? They used to go aliyah l'regel in Shiloh, which is a shaila in the Shainim, is their din aliyah l'regel. Ramban in Parshas Re'eh is a shaila. If the Bechlal is a din aliyah l'regel Mishkan Shiloh, but they came to aliyah l'regel, and they used to come not 3 times a year, they used to come 5 times a year, as they state in Radak. Rosh Hashanah, they used to go aliyah l'regel as well. So then we see the tefillah. After the crying, and after the broiges, and after the kas, and after the not eating, what is Chana saying? Vatoimer Hashem tzvokos im roi tire be'oni amoscho uzechartani v'lo yisishkach es amoscho v'nosato la'amoscho zera anoshim v'unesativ la'Hashem kol yemei chayov u'moiro lo ya'ala rosh. I promise you, if you give me a son, right now, I'm dedicating him from the day of his Afsaka Sa'anoka, which is 24 months according to the Torah, until Sef Yom Shmuel lived 52 years. You know, the Gemara says, Hashem Tzvokos, steht a Gemara in Brochos in Daf Lamed Aleph. Omar Ablozo, miyoim shebora HaKadosh Baruch Hu es Olamoi, lo hoyo odom shekoro laHashem Tzvokos. Nobody called. If you look throughout the whole Tanakh, miyoim shebora HaKadosh Baruch Hu es Olam, there was never anyone who called HaKadosh Baruch Hu Tzvokos. Ad shebos Chana v'kros Tzvokos. Omro lefanav. Ribeina shel Olam. Mikol tzvoi tzvois, from all armies of armies, shel buim shebarato l'necho, kosher beinecho, shetikta beinecho. Gave me a little donation. Billions of people in the world. Can't you give me one son? Zog the Gemara, Moshor lema hadover doime. It's a Moshor of the Gemara. It's not Moshor from the story, fortune telling for the kids. Moshor lema hadover doime. Lemelech bosov adom sheosa sudo la'avodov. On yechod bo ve'omed atzel ha'pesach. Omer lehem ha'oni. Tnu li prusa achas shelechem. Please, you're making such a feast, such a major mishtach hashverish. Ashtikul broit. All I'm asking for is prusa achas shelechem. V'lo yishgichu olav. Nobody took about it. Nobody cared about it. Doch ha'ka'oni atzmui pnimo v'nichnas eitzel ha'melch. He went through all the security checkpoint. Comes to the king. Omar loi. Adonai HaMelech Mikol Suda She'asisa Kosher Beinecho Litni Prusa Achas Shelech. Can't you give me one slice of bread? The king went and gave him a shirayim from the brekale, from the king's bread. Comes to my show, everybody's maral, everybody's asking a kasha. I mean, the guy's smuggling he tried to get into the White House. I mean, the guy's a king. He's passing the first point. Nobody let him in. Lama zogging that the guy is matzliach to smuggle through, and he comes all the way mamish by the president's chair. He's coming to the king. He's telling the king, give me prusa achas, right? And the melech, instead of calling any one of the servants and the waiters, the melech takes himself a brekale and he gives him a piece of. I'm asking you a question. If I would go in for Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur and I would say, Rebbeinu Shalom, you have trillions of dollars. There's a financial crisis. 10 million, give me. It's costing geld. All I'm asking you for $10 million. So the truth of the matter is, according to the Goyen's terminology, if we really ask, we can get it. If you ask, you can get. But the reason is, why don't we ask? What's the difference between us and Chana? Chana is not asking for herself. Right away in the beginning of the Bakosha, she says, Unesativ la'Hashem kol yemei chayov. For HaKadosh Baruch, it's not for me. Give me $10 million, I'm giving it right away to Tzedakah. I'm not taking it for myself. If you look at the Gemara a little further, I don't want to spend too much time on it. The Gemara says, V'nosato la'amoscho zera anoshim. What's zera anoshim? What is she asking? For a child. No, it's nicht das Epush. Gavro shebeguvrin. Sagt die Gemara, Ish ben anoshim. Says Rashi, sheyechoshu v'limones ben anoshim. Rav Omar. Shmuel Omar, zera sheyemoishach shnei anoshim l'malchus, umayniu shol v'dovid. I'm not taking a piece of bread. It's Dav Zayin as a sourdough bread. It has to be a shtickle bread, mit puter. soll sich gießen von allen Seiten. I need somebody to be Moishech. Shmuel Hanavi was Moishech Shaul and David. So that's Zera Anoshim. Rabbi Yochanan Omar Zera sheshokul keneged shnei Anoshim. Mind you, Moshe ve'Aaron, Moshe ve'Aaron b'Koyan v'Shmuel b'Koyer Shmoi. She's not asking stam for Anoshim. She's asking a Zera, which is shokul keneged. We know Moshe ve'Aaron nish Moshe alein. Af Moshe shteit lekom kemoisei. There was never anybody. The cherry on top of the cream, on top of the cake, is Aaron HaKoyen to the Tzueichet. More state that Shmuel was shokul. Moshe ve'Aaron b'Koyan v'Shmuel b'Koyer. Here in America, we went to school. Before the Gzeire from the Mizvert bottle that you not have to learn in the Limudei Choil. We get in school, what do we learn? First, Alabez, they teach you is beggars can be choosers. If you are getting a Kumtzido, I mean, the Gemara goes right there. Ki Oser Avdimi from that Yisrael to Babel, he said, Shelei Oruch, V'lei Gutz, V'lei Gicho, V'lei Admum, V'lei Tzocho, V'lei Ila, V'lei Cotton. She has it listed, a supermarket list, what she's asking for. You are Korah. For 19 and a half years, you don't have children. With precondition, with contingencies. You have to be as Asot, not Stam. Moishech, Shnei Melochim, Moshe ve'Aaron b'Koyano, Ahecha, Niderika, Weissa, Schwarze. She wants everything. The Teretz says, Amibet Fazich, when you ask for yourself, it's Take beggars can be choosers. But even Osato, Zera Anoshim, I'm asking for the $10 million, not for myself. I'm telling you right now, I'm dedicating him. He became a Nazir. Shmuel was a Nazir. She's asking for Makdish Kodesh Baruch Hu. She has the legitimate grounds to ask and to prescribe exactly how she wants her child to be constructed. Somebody else says, I want to come to a point. Steiten Goyen. I mean, the Goyen says it in 5 words, but I'm going to elaborate a little more. Berosh Hashanah nifkedo Sor. Berosh Hashanah, was given by Sor? What was the story by Sor? After Yishmael is born. So Sor tells Avram Avinu, Chamosi alecho Avram. What's meant Chamosi alecho Avram? So Rashi, Chomos. Ha'osui li olecho animtilo einish. כשיספללת לקדוש ברוך הוא, מה תיתן לי ואני אוהל לך רירי, לא יספללת אלו עליך. ואוהל לך להספל על שנינו, והייסי נפקד לשמחו. What says? You didn't have children. You go to הקדוש ברוך הוא to ask him for a child. So you're asking for a child for yourself. What was the result? You had a kid. Who was the mother? Hagar. You should have davened for you and me. You davened only for yourself. Sarah had major complaints on Avram Avinu. Avram Avinu is mispalo, but he's not mispalo for her. Let's go to Rochel. Rochel doesn't have children. It says, Hoveli bonim v'mayim meisa anoichi. Zokt Rashi, Samedrash. Hoveli bonim v'kikach oso avicho le'imcha v'le'ispolo le'oma. Your father davened. Your father was mispalo. Yitzchak didn't have children. Steht v'yeta Yitzchak l'Hashem u'necha chishta ki akoro he davened for him and for his wife. Kach oso avicho. This is what your father did. Omar lo. Vayicha Raf Yaakov atachas elokim asher nona mimech pri beten. Zogt Rashi, at omar she'ese ke'abo. Ani eini ke'abo. Abo lo hoyu lebonim. Ani yesh li bonim. Mimech mona v'loi mimeni. So who's too stolz to the tate? My father didn't have any children. My father didn't have any children, so he davened for him, he davened for his wife. By me, I have children. The problem is you, not me. Mela, I'm not davening for you. So Avram is not davening for Sarah, and Yaakov is not davening for Rachel. Was tut sich mit? What happens with Chana? V'chiasosot Sarah, steht in Psikte, is a medische Psikte. Mach eses v'choizeres u'mocheses. Ma yo oiso pnina l'chano. Omo l'pnina l'chano, snab noch lebro, habo, I bought my son a sweater, v'keseines v'chaluk. Chana doesn't have children. She has 10 children. What's it, 10 children? She doesn't have. She says, you buy, you go to shopping, there's a sale. Today, there's a sale. Go to buy your son something. V'hi matchila livchois. Omar Rav Nachman Barabe, oy so pnina mashkemes omer l'chano. Einat omedes umarchetzes pneim shel bonaych sheyelchu beis hasefer. Don't you get up and prepare your kids to go to school? You have to prepare them to go to school. v'yoimedes v'boichu. Rav Kois Omar ben Tanchum, oy oimer lo ein atomedes umekabeles b'shei shoes bonaich shabon beis hasefer. They used to finish school after 6 hours, at least they didn't psikte. You don't go to the school bus to pick up your children? V'yochane oimedes uboichu memareres bebech. Rav Tanchum barabo mer o yoshim le'echoil. V'yolkono noisen lekolechot chelkoi, pnina miskavenes la'achis, omeres lekono, ten lezebni chelkoi, v'lezebni chelkoi. Give him don't noch a stickel chicken, leave a stickel flesh. And she's listening there, her eyes are popping out, she's crying. V'hoya b'chem. Omar, as I stated in the Psikte. Omar Rav Kois, Omar Rav Tanchum barabo. Omro pnino. Yoida sani shemichana osid lotzes Shmuel Anovi. V'kol kama de lo yotzo mina de chano kois shel dmois lo yivoled. Pnina wasn't stam gechepet a schlechte Freu that she's not interested. Steht in Psikte that Pnina saw B'Ruach HaKodesh apparently. She was a Neviah, as a Shiloh, if she has a din Neviah or not. That Shmuel will not be born until Chana will fill up a cup of Dmois. So she fills up a cup of Dmois. 19 years she's crying. You know what happened? All the 19 years she was crying. You know, I met once a person, I asked him, no, was sagst du Rosh Hashanah? Having a good time. I was by Leibstein and he promised me, I was by Chaim Kanievsky, and Zugezogt, I am Mesudar, I can go now to the Kiddush Club, middle of davening, Fahrt Kiyah Shefer, ich bin Mesudar. Kozman that a person is not Hashlech al Hashem Yehovcho v'yichal kaleko. The nace is not going to happen. For 19 years, she's going to her husband, Elkanah, was the Godel Ador State in Yalkut. She went to him, she asked him, daven for me, Chodesh Kinder. So she was Yoitzer Shtadlos in having Kinder. Her kids are going to be born b'schus her husband, who is Godel Ador. He's going to daven. Chaim Kanievsky is davening for me. In the moment that Elkanah tells her, Toiv aniloch me'asora bonim, the coin dropped. She realized that she's not getting the Yeshua from Elkanah. Chaim Kanievsky is not davening for me anymore. In the moment that she went in Moshel Amah Dover Doime, she broke, she penetrated the Armoin. Moshel Amah Dover Doime, Prusa Achas, doesn't care about the FBI standing in the shower of the Armoin. She goes into Besamikdash, she goes into Eli HaKoyen, Vayachshavol Shikoyre, the Goyen's gone Sevorat, Sheilo, Shikoyro, she looked like she was drunk. When she felt that she has to ask for herself, and she's willing to dedicate the only son, Kol Yomim, to the Kodesh Baruch Hu. Chana, Rochel, Sora, what was the problem with Sora? When was Sora Nifkedo? And Avram told her, she tells Avram, you know what, you daven for yourself, you didn't daven for me. When that message penetrated, got through, is Gibon Gavon Yitzchok. When Yankiv tells Rochel, Atachas Elikim Ani, I am not, Kimono Mimech Plibet, Mimech Mono V'loi Mimeni, he said, my tefillah is not going to go for you. That's Berosh Hashanah Nifkeda Sach Rochel. Berosh Hashanah Nifda Yosef Mibeis Asurim. You know why? Moira de Kazach. Tell you again. What's Berosh Hashanah Nifked Yosef Mibeis Asurim? You get got out of the Leil Rosh Hashanah. Why? It says, Ki'im Zechartani. It says twice. Ki'im Zechartani Asher Yitav V'osisa Imin Chesed V'yiz Kartani. Shteit Chazal, because it says Zechartani V'yiz Kartani, he said 2 years in jail. The 2 years, the Cholim from Sarah Mashkim State Medrash took place on Leil Rosh Hashanah. He told them, Sarah Mashkim went out. He told them, Zechartani, you know, Zechira in the Torah is 12 months. Some Sefer says the reason why we read Parshas Zohar every year is because after 12 months is Shikha. At Kedekach is Shmuz. What happens if next year is a Ibra Yor? You have to maybe Mimaskir, Michias Amolek, because it's 12 months is Zohar She'osel Amolek. He says, Zechartani v'yizkartani, you have to wait right now 2 years. The Eibishter gesagt, 2 years passed by, and Sarah Mashkim doesn't remember you. Now the tefillah of Yosef will be miskabel. When the exit strategy of Halozin Zachaf Rebbe, of Sarah Mashkim, of Reb Chaim Kanievsky, of Avram Avinu, of Elkanah, doesn't work, the message penetrated, and the same thing, Botla Avoidem Aviseinu B'Mitzrayim, steht, der Chaim Volozhiner sagt, Advorim Yeduim, it says that steht, Vayi bayom Rabbi Mael, vayomos melech Mitzrayim, vayoonchu bnei Yisrael min ha'avodo, vayizaku vatal sha'avosom el Elokim min ha'avodo, vayishmo Elokim es na'akosa, vayizkor es brisa, es Avrom, es Yitzchak, es Yaakov. So Chaim Volozhiner, Pshutei if there's a schlechter minister, as a bad king, you say, you know what? Want to be menachem each other. You say, you know what? Morgen hat starben, hat kommen a bessere König. He dies, and a worse one comes in. Who says we're going to wait now for this government to fall, to collapse? You see, it can come a worse government than was. So what do we say? You have to follow the Stock im Breire. Mit darf sich verlassen auf die Beine schon. So Chaim Volozhiner, Vayi bayom vayomos melech Mitzrayim vayoonchu bnei Yisrael min ha'avodo. You see that the new king that came, it became worse. Vayizaku vatal sha'avosom el Elokim. Well, they finally understood that this nechom of us miretzach hayin, tomorrow will be a nicer day. The sun will shine tomorrow morning. This magic trick will not help. The message that we have from Rosh Hashanah's davening is that in order for us to get this $10 million, it's two profound credentials. The first thing is that the only thing that works is I have to do it yourself. If you do it yourself, then you have a chance of getting, of penetrating, of receiving what you want to get. Number two, you don't ask for yourself. You ask when the sativ la'Hashem kol hayom. If the asking is for ruchnius, then the bakosha that you do it yourself and don't follow zachavatzveite will be answered. I want to focus on one Gemara, and this thing that Yitzchok was choluk from Avram and Yankev. Yitzchok was mispalo by Be'ad Rivka. Gemara we just read the Rashi we just read, and Avram and Yankev did not. I want to learn with you for the 10-15 minutes we have left. I want to learn with you Ashtikoleh from the Slichos that we're going to read this week on Erev Yom Kippur. Look to Lashon HaSlichos. Slichos is Mochor Yihyeh Ha'os Haze. What's the highlight of the Slicha? The Pismin has a couple of piyutim. What's the highlight? Chanoin choin amcho, please redeem your nation, asher l'shimcha u'ma'amin, that believes in your name. Sanegoyer olai temane, you should get me a sanegoyer. Asher chotosi yatmin, whatever I zindikt yatmin, he will bagrob, he'll bury. V'choivi, and the choiv, b'smoil yachmin. It's not just the gramzel shtimen. Shtei toepes. I'm going to learn with you this. Zchusi yale b'yamin. Choivi, the choiv put in the left hand, and the schus put in the right hand. Ve'efer Yitzchok Yasmin, and the Efer of Yitzchok bring to the table. Asher Yomin Kiuze. Asher Yomin Kiuze, Mochor Yihyeh Ha'os Haze. You need to have a zeh in the picture. Asher Yomin Kiuze. So I'll tell you Pshat. Pshat, and I think maybe it's something which could be, maybe it's connected to what you just spoke about. The Goyen has a pirush, if you look in the end of Seder Nezikin, the Goyen is, the Gemara says that Shvur D'Oraisa, one of the Shvur says is only the Rabbanan. Shvur D'Oraisa, Moedu Mikzas is Mechuv Shvur. What is Moedu Mikzas? I come to a person and say, Monu B'yot, B'alo Ibn Chamishim, I only 50. So Moedu Mikzas, you have Shvur D'Oraisa. Shvur Sedechel, Shvur Moedu Mikzas, Shvur Satayr. Where do you learn Ad Alocha of Moedu Mikzas is Chayev Shvur Satayr? Rashi says in Kiddushin, it's like Gemara in Baba Kameh, Asher Yoimar Ki Hu Zeh. Learned out from the Wörter, Asher Yoimar Ki Hu Zeh. Rashi says, Shesomach Al Mikzas Odo Osoi. In other words, say 100, you made it 50, so there's a 50 Odo, 50 Kfir together, the Yishaf, a Chibur of Asher Yoimar Ki Hu Zeh. So the Goy and the Kazach, the word Hu is Nistar. The word Zeh is something which is existing. Asher Yoimar Ki Hu Zeh, after half of the Tviyeh, of the $50 is Hu. You say, Monali Biotra, I owe you $100. 50 I don't know about. But Zeh, the other 50 I'm giving you. So the Goyen Hashayema Kihu Zeh, the combination of Hu and Zeh is the formula of Meider Miktsas. Part is Hu, is Ne'elam, I don't know about. And part is Zeh, it's right here sitting on the table. I want to say as follows. The Gemara in Shabbos, Daf Peiches Amud Beis, says the Gemara, and I want you to listen carefully. Omar Rav Shmuel bar Nachmani Omar Rabbi Yonason. My diksiv, the posuk in Yeshaya. Ki ato avinu, ki Avram lo yodoonu, v'Yisrael lo yakirenu, ato Hashem avinu goyaleinu. Lo said lo v'omar Kodesh Baruch Hu Avram, bonecho chotu. Lo said lo v'Kodesh Baruch Hu is going to the office. Chal Yisrael is going to zindik. He tells them, bonecho chotu. Omar lo fonov, Avram avinu answer, please eradicate them. They zindik, they ate, let them pay. Omar, Kodesh Baruch Hu says, like Loshen HaGemor, Eimal leYankiv, Davle Tzar Gidl Bonim, Yankiv had got Tzar Gidl Bonim, maybe I should use Yankiv. Omar le, Efshe de Boy Rachme Ale, Omar le Bonecho Chotu, Omar le Riboyne Shalom, Imochu al Kedusha Shmecho. They ate, let them pay. Eradicate! Kill Klal Yisrael. Omar the Kodesh Baruch Hu say lo besavei tamo v'lo bedardake eitze. Nicht krieg ich in Yeshua, nicht für die Seide und nicht für die Einiklach. Not from Avram and Yaakov. Let me go to Yitzchak. Omar le Yitzchak bonecho chotu. Omar le Ribono Shalom. Bonei v'lo bonecho? It's bonecho. It's my kinder. It's your children. Beshoshi ikdimu lefonecho naisel lish mekoros lebni b'choyri. Ashto bonei v'lo bonecho. Then you say, B'ni B'chayr Yisrael, it's the Machzach Nishvisadik. Bonecho, you throw the bill to me. You are the father. So the Gemara ve'oid, listen to this mathematical algorithm of Yitzchak Avinu. Kama shnoisav shalom. How much does a person live? Shivim shana. Dal esrim deloya nashtalayu. There's 20 years, B'dina Shemayim, we don't get an Einish till 20. Bar mitzvah is only B'dina Odom. B'dina Shemayim, till 20 you don't get an Einish. So delete the 20, we're holding it ready by 50. Dal esrim v'chamisha deleiloso. Half a day we sleep, a night, hold the dog. Pashulei esrim v'chamisha. It's only 25 years. Let's make the cheshbon. Let's take it right now. Take apart the bill. We'll do an auditing on your bill that you're sending to eradicate Klal Yisrael. Dal tarte srei upalga. From the 25, take half. The tzluye, the Michal, and Beis HaKiseh. These three things of tefillah and achila, Beis HaKiseh, take off a half. Pashalei tarte v'so upalga. There's 12 and a half years left. For your 70 years, there's only 12 and a half. No, if you're willing to take the bill for 12 and a half years, yeah, you can do it. Come on, pick up the tab. Let's make a split. I'll take 6 and a quarter years, and you take 6 and a quarter. I'm asking to split the bill with you, 50-50. If you say, I'm not paying the bill anymore, forget it, it's your children, take it, all you. Akrive nafshi kamoch. I was makriv, my nefesh kamoch. Kedas Yitzchok miyad, poschu ve'omra ato avinu, omar lohem Yitzchok, achatem mekalsim oisi, kalsu HaKadosh Baruch Hu, umachve le Yitzchok beinayu miyad, noisim elem lamor, ve'omra ato Hashem goyaleinu, moel mishmech. Yitzchok is the only one who's the Sanhedrin from Klal Yisrael. Let's learn the piyut. It says, let's see. Sanegor alay temane asher chatos yachmin. The Sanegor, first of all, he takes the chatoim, which is b'dei odom ad gil esrim. He's taking him off. Asher chatos yachmin. Now, half of it is leilis. He's knocking off the bill from 50 to 25. You know, as stating goyin ader saliyom pashat bereishit b'shem tikunei hazoyar, that a day is yamin and a laila is small throughout kol ateret chulu. He says, Choyvi b'smol yachmin, the night, the time of the night is 25 years, b'smol yachmin, I am burying it in the ground. Zchusi yale beyamin. Okay, so I'm only the yamin, and the yamin is the day that you mekayem the mitzvah, the brachas, the tefilas. Then he says, "Palga alai, palga alecha." I'd like to say something here, a sophisticated question. How old was Yitzchak by that Kedeh? So Rashi says that Yitzchak was 37 years old. Why? Because Sarah died, she was 127 years old. Avram was 137 by the ptira of Sarah. And if Sarah died somach to that Kedeh, right away, the Sultan came, told her, some of that Kedeh, how old was Sarah when she had Yitzchak? She was 90, she's 127, so he's 37. So Rashi says that Yitzchak was 37 years of age by that Kedeh. Problem is, Asidar Suyas Agmor in Ksubas. In Yevamis. In Yevamis, Daf Samachal, the Gemara says that Kohen Gadol has to take a Besula. He has to take a Naira and not a Begeris. Gemara says, how do you know? Ein Psula El Nairo, the Ksiv, Nairo, Toivas Marem Oid Besul, let's talk about Rivka. Zoktesis, Vim Toima, Bebraisa, the Seder Oilom, Ksiv, Shoiso, Rak Bagimel Shenesor, it was only 3. What do you have in the Raya from here that she's a Psula, she's Naira, she's 12 and a half. Zoktesis, Ve'omar Rabbeinu Shmuel, Chosid Mishfiro, the Mesifri Muchach Oisa Bas Yud Gimel Yudalet Shenesor Yitzchok. She was 14. And then Zokte says that Yitzchok was only 26. And Sarah really died 11 years after that Kedeh. Sarah died 11 years after that Kedeh. Yitzchok is 26. And when Sarah dies, he marries her. She was 3 years old. Bishas when she was 14 years of age. So it's not that she's what we are used to learn. Zokte says, וצורך לא יאמר המדרושים חלוקים, והספרי סובר דייצחק היה בן חובוב שונו בזמן הקדש. If you look at the Goyen in Braisa the Seder Oilom, it says that Braisa Seder Oilom is the Braisa we have, we say. It says that Avram Avinu, Yitzchak was 37, but the Goyen told Sefer, tzorech lo yomar ben chavav sham. Now this chavav is not so poshut, because it wasn't chavav. Yitzchak, if Yitzchak, what the Akedah was on Rosh Hashanah. Which year? 2074. The Akedah was on 2074. Yitzchak was born on the first day of Pesach. So Yitzchak is really not 26. Yitzchak is 25 and a half. He was born on Pesach. And here is the Maisa from the Akedah. The reason why it's called 26, because he's into the 26 years. As is the derech from the Torah. From the Brises, he's the 26, 25 and Umechza. Exactly 25 and a half in the time of the Akedah. So Yitzchok, the 12 and a half years, 13 years, I'm a Kotna, but the 12 and a half years, from the 12 and a half years in Toima, from the Zman that was Nichnas Lechiyuv until the Zman of the Akedah, it's exactly 12 and a half years. Ve'efer Yitzchok Yasmin, Asher Yoimar Ki Hu Zeh. Ki Hu Zeh is made of mikzas of the Goyim. I made of mikzas. So the 12 and a half years, exactly 12 and a half years, from the time Yitzchok becomes a Gadol till the time of the Akedah, that should be the schus by me to be Mesanger. By Negeling and Ein Nachzat, what we spoke in the beginning, Yitzchok is the only one who is able to be Mesanger and the children once. The Bonecha Chot. Avrom lo yishenu. Lo bezkeinei eitzo, lo bedardake. You can't take not the grandfather, not the grandson. Yitzchok is the only one. And why? Because Yitzchok was mispalo for him and for his wife. Yitzchok is the only one who's mispalo for him and for his wife. Is the schus, you know, that state in the Rosh brings down the end of Parshas Shmois. That B'schus Yitzchok is Nigalu Mitzrayim. Why? He said because Baruch was looking for to be Mekazez, to cut off to be only 210 years. So he said, he came to Avram, he says, you want to donate something from your name? Avram says, I'm sorry, I need my whole name. He went to Yankov, he says, I'm sorry, I need my whole name. I say, he stayed in Das Ken in Baal HaTesis and the Parsha Shmois. He came to Yitzchok, so Yitzchok says, you know, Be'emes, my name is Yitzchok. They state in Bris Milah, he said, Asher Koras es Avram Ushvose le Yitzchok. Yitzchok is spelled with Sheen at 300. I'm willing to go downgrade me, call me Yitzchok. So I'm taking off 210 for my name. B'schus dem mit Kalchal should be Nihal. As I state in Rosh. I'm not telling you a Chassidish gematria, I'm telling you a Rosh. The Rosh says, that Yitzchok says, instead of Yitzchok, so Yitzchok is the only one. Yitzchok is the one, like the Tefillah for him and for his wife.